Okay, guys, so this is case study 2. This is truck case study 2, and this is Jim. Jim drove heavy vehicles and tankers for the past 10 years and was qualified for international carriage of dangerous goods. This is ADR, okay? ADR used to be called the European Agreement for the Carriage of Dangerous Goods by Road, but in 2021, they have dropped the European because so many other countries like North America and Africa and places like that have joined it. It's no longer European, okay? So now it's just the Agreement for the Carriage of Dangerous Goods by Road, and that is ADR.
What does ADR stand for?
I can't remember the acronym. Something routier. It's in French.
Okay.
It's in French. I can't remember the exact translation.
In that book.
You know, the Carriage of Dangerous Goods by Road, Class 3 goods for the past 7 years. Class 3, there's 9 classes, okay, with 4 subdivisions. Class 3 is flammable liquids, such as...
Petroleum.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, 1203.
What's the UN number for that?
1203, yeah.
1202, 1203, and 1223 are the most commonly carried flammable goods, aren't they?
Yeah.
Okay. The tankers going to the garages are carrying UN 1203 petrol, and the ones going to the houses are usually carrying 1223. And if they go into the farms, maybe a bit of oil, maybe a bit of 1202, but it's normally 1223 kerosene. This morning, Jim's job was to take an empty tanker to a fuel distribution depot. He collected his documentation from the traffic clerk and made sure he was carrying his ADR authorization and driver's digital tachograph card. So when you do ADR, remember the exam is broken into 2 parts. One is tanker specialization, and the other one is everything else. So that's your packages, your boxes, your pallets, your jerry cans, your IBCs, your drums. There's either tanker specialization and everything else. Everything else is called core and packages. He downloaded the card, and when you pass, if you do the exam and you pass the first part, you'll get an ADR card, but you can only drive core and packages, not tankers. If you pass the tankers but fail the core, they will keep that pass on record for 6 months. So you can resit the exam, and you don't have to resit the tanker exam, okay? And when you get that ADR card, it's valid for 5 years. He downloaded the card only 5 days ago. Okay, ADR authorization and driver's digital tachograph card. So he downloaded his tachograph card. You don't download an ADR card that just gives you the right to drive dangerous goods. He downloaded the card only 5 days ago. How often do you download your tachograph card?
28
days.
No later than 28 days. His truck was fitted with a digital tachograph. Jim needed both documents today because of the type of work he was doing. If you're driving dangerous goods, you must have your ADR card on you. The driver must have his ADR card on him. After completing his vehicle checks and nil defect. What's the nil defect?
Nothing wrong.
Yeah, you do your walk around, and rather than tick all the boxes saying there's nothing wrong, if you decide there's nothing wrong, you can just tick the box at the bottom. It says nil defect. Report form. Jim checked all his safety equipment to make sure it complied with ADR authorization. So we can go into that in more detail later. That's your gloves, your goggles, your high vis, and if necessary, escape mask. All vehicles must have a triangle and a first aid kit and a fire extinguisher. With ADR, I'm not going to get too detailed now, but ADR up to 3.5 ton must have 4 kilograms of fire extinguisher on. And one of them in the front must be at least 2K. And if it's over 3.5, but less than 7.5, then it must have 8 kilograms fire extinguisher on it, 2 kg in the front and a 6 on the back. And if it's over 7.5, then it must have 12 kilograms of fire extinguisher on it, a 2 in the front and I don't know, a 10 or 2 6s in the back. He drove to the fuel depot with the empty tanker. The tanker was a rigid 4-axle. So what can that carry? Maximum weight?
32 tons.
32, yes. Fitted with single wheels providing extended tracking width. It had road-friendly suspension. A design gross weight of 32. It says right there, doesn't it? DGVW. Is that the same as GVW?
Design gross, yeah, it is.
Yes, it's exactly the same. Was 3.7 meters high. Is that okay? What's the maximum height of a truck?
4.6.
That's grand, isn't it?
Yeah.
And had the most up-to-date tanker specifications and fuel compartments. So we don't have to worry about the 28 rule, do we?
Yeah.
because it's specifications and fuel compartments. It's not a solid drum. It's compartments. Jim arrived at the fuel distribution depot and complied with all the site and safety regulations pointed out by the depot supervisor. He noticed a familiar difference in how the truck handled with the full load of liquid. What's going to change? What forces change from an empty vehicle to a full vehicle? What the four forces we wave at when we
Momentum.
Inertia.
Yeah.
Momentum. What else? Inertia.
Gravity.
Gravity.
And pendulum.
Pendulum.
Centrifugal.
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 Oh yeah.
The force that pulls you outwards off your current path, especially if you relax the foot brake when stopping. Today, Jim was to deliver a load of diesel to a large haulage yard. He had delivered to this yard before, so he was able to carefully plan his route. We discussed route plan the other day. With ADR, as well as the normal things you worry about in route planning, you'd also, if possible, avoid built-up areas. You don't want to drive dangerous goods near human beings and built-up areas, residential areas, if you can possibly help it, in case there was some kind of accident. The direct route to the haulage yard had a bridge with a weight restriction of 20,000 kilos. There was also a low bridge just before the haulage yard.
Liam, can I ask a very quick question? When he used the foot brake, when he stopped, that means that was momentum, yeah, not inertia.
Yes, the momentum, all the fluid. When he hit the brake, all the fluid went forward. That was the momentum.
Great, thank you.
And when he tried to pull away again with the acceleration, the inertia would go up.
That would have been inertia, yeah.
Yeah. On his way, Jim came across a roadblock with a detour sign that directed him onto an unfamiliar road. He knew the detour would add time to his route, so he picked up speed. That's never a good idea, is it?
Nope.
While driving around a sharp right-hand bend, so what has increased? Sharp right-hand bend, and he's increased.
Momentum. Oh no, the centrifugal.
Yes, but you are correct as well. The momentum would also pick up, but we're particularly the centrifugal putting them off the path. In a hand bend in the road, he hit the brakes lightly, which would also increase the centrifugal, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
When he felt the wheels begin to lift slightly, that is never a good thing, is it?
No.
He took his foot off the accelerator and drove to the outside of the bend, which is about all he could do. If he touched the brake again, he'd be adding to the centrifugal force, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
He then felt the wheels firmly on the road again. However, this was short-lived. He's driving dangerous goods. He's going around a bend so fast that the wheels have lifted up on the right-hand side. That is crazy, isn't it? But remember what I said about the 2080 rule with the speed ball.
Would they be lifting up on the right-hand side,
14
or the left-hand side?
Left-hand side.
Sorry?
They'd be lifting up on the left-hand side, not the right, yeah?
Okay, sharp right-hand bend. Yeah, sorry, sharp right-hand bend. Blah, blah, blah. He felt the wheels begin to lift slightly. He doesn't say, but he just felt the wheels begin to lift slightly. Yeah, it was a right-hand bend.
Yeah.
Okay, so those inside wheels were lifting up. Like I said, at speeds as little as 14 miles an hour or 22 kilometers an hour, you can tip the truck over. Continuing on, Jim arrived at the foot of a long, steep incline. Oh, blah, blah, wheels. Continuing on, Jim arrived at the foot of a long, steep incline. Halfway up the hill, he noticed a sign at a junction which indicated that no large goods with 3 or more axles were allowed. He knew that the detour route would be the shortest way back to his planned route, so he decided to ignore the sign. Well, that's criminally dangerous and a complete sackable offense, isn't it, in my opinion? Would you agree?
Jim is dim.
Jim is a bit of a fool. Soon enough, he joined up with his planned route. When Jim arrived at the haulage operator's yard, he braked to a stop. So what increases when you brake?
Momentum.
Just before he came to a final halt, he relaxed the brakes and felt a sudden force acting on his truck. So he's pushed the brakes, the momentum has pushed all the liquid forward. Now he's lifted off the brakes and that fluid is pushing him forwards. The operator asked him to dispense half the load at the site and deliver the other half to a different site. Jim agreed and carefully dispensed the fuel evenly from the correct compartments, because you want to keep it evenly distributed, not only individual axles or the GVW, etc., etc. You don't want all the weight at the back, do you? Because then you're going to get that tail swing. jackknife in effect. However, he failed to notice an initial spillage. I don't know what an initial spillage is. However, he failed to notice a spillage. He then drove to his final drop-off point and unloaded the remaining fuel. I don't know how he managed to miss that spillage, but if you do spill, what do you do?
Stand.
Report it or you clean it up. You'll have a spill kit. If you're driving ADR, you should have a spill kit anyway. And the chances of spilling, what was it? Is living diesel, petrol? What was it? I forget. Diesel.
It was diesel, yeah.
The chance of a spill really are very slim because you probably have a scully or you'd be blowing it off from the bottom of the truck anyway. But anyway, that's beside the point. If you do spill, you report it, you clean it up, and you report it. Okay. So that case study 2, Jim, is all about ADR, which is a big subject in itself. It's something you'll be studying in more detail later on.
So what was the overall weight of his vehicle? He shouldn't have been going over that bridge, should he have?
Absolutely not.
32 tons.
His
So,
vehicle
and he was
before
20.
axle-
Jesus.
The bridge is for 20 tons. What's the maximum weight of a 3-axle truck?
26.
Exactly. And what was his?
4 axle.
Yeah, his is
Four.
sport, which is 32,
That's
isn't it?
crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.